I'll be giving a short lecture on the different perspectives of the dangers in cyberspace or the internet that where we are working right now. Since I was told that we have teachers and we also have students, we have other professionals locally and abroad. So I'd like to cover very briefly each perspectives, no? And these are the threats. These are the problems and issues that we are fighting and combating on a daily basis. So first, let me welcome you to our new domain, the domain of cyberspace. So more and more countries have already adopted the idea of cyberspace being part of our one of our domains. So in the Philippines, we have land, sea, air, and cyberspace. In 2010, 2011, there were 1.7 billion uh, population or netizens. And this year, in July 2020, so active internet users have grown to 4.57 billion. Unique mobile internet users, 4.17 billion. Active social media users, 3.96 billion. And active mobile social media users, 3.91 billion. So almost every day, our population in cyberspace is growing. And it is the only domain that is also growing because our land is no longer growing. Our airspace is not growing, and our sea territory is not growing. But our cyberspace is still growing. These are the four dangers that we are facing on a daily basis. So there's that dangers of child pornography. There's the cyberbullying, the online gambling and online gaming, and of course the predators or the online theft or those groups that we call hackers. On the pornography, so the user is also the victim. Now, this is one of the reasons why I included this is more and more young people, no, are hooked into watching porn online because it's very accessible, no? And also this is also where the child pornography is becomes a big problem because more and more pedophiles are operating on the internet. So for the mothers and for the teachers who are dealing with kids, it is very important that we always remind our kids, our children, no, we have always been told not to talk to strangers. It's the same in cyberspace. Tell your children not to talk to strangers. Tell your kids, tell your daughters or your sons not to visit porn sites. Uh, Unfortunately, not all parents are technologically informed. No? Those who do not have any idea on how to do it, they are not able to prevent their kids from accessing this uh, websites. So based on the 2016 report of UNICEF, so the Philippines is the #1 global source of child pornography. This is a big problem. You know, in PLDT, we are very active in blocking websites that have something to do with child pornography. Every time a website is reported to us that has a child porn related content or a domain, we immediately block those websites. This is an example of a case way back in 2017. So 13 minors were rescued as the NBI Anti-Human Trafficking Division conducted an operation in Cavite that led to the arrest of 2 sisters offering online shows of underage Filipino girls. So be very careful with your kids. If you are posting or uploading photos of your very young kids taking a bath, no, don't do that, no, because for us it's cute, but for pedophiles that's already something else. Okay. Next is the cyberbullying. So this is a prevalent problem. No? So the source can also be the subject of cyberbullying. According to a 2015 survey by childcare nonprofit Stairway Foundation, 80% of young teens in the Philippines experience cyberbullying. Remember, this is very different from the traditional bullying. Before, when children are being bullied in one school, we just transfer it to the other school, and then that's it. Right now, if your son or daughter is bullied in school, you transfer that in other schools. The students will just go to Google, will just go to Facebook, and then they will find all this information right away. So it doesn't end. This is why it creates a more depressing situation to the subject, no, or to the victim. So while now we are going to do online learning, and majority of children will be spending more time online, it is very important for parents to monitor your children every time they're online, and when they are not online, you check where they're going, who they're talking to, and what they are doing. There have been suicide already that's related to cyberbullying, you know. So and parents do not have any idea. They didn't have any idea of the ordeal that their kid or children were undergoing. They were being cyberbullied on a daily basis, and they took their own life. It's very sad. So cyberbullying is not only for children, it also happens to women, everyone. Social media outlets can just fix the problem but choose not to. So that's a problem. And even our politicians, some of them are complaining they are being cyberbullied, you know. So a little survey, 7 out of 10 cases, consequences were traumatic. 37% of the victims reported lower self-esteem, those who are being bullied. 30% saw a deterioration in their performance at school, and 28% cited depression. So that's the impact of cyberbullying. The next is the online gambling. So the online gaming and online gambling, be very careful if your son or daughter is spending too much time playing games and playing online games. It starts with gaming, but then it will end in gambling. No? And addiction is very real. Addiction in online gaming, addiction in online gambling. These are the signs where you can detect that your son or daughter is addicted to online gaming or online gambling. So first, the thinking about gaming all or a lot of the time. So your son is always thinking about gaming, or daughters. They feel bad when they're not allowed to play, and they're going to quarrel with you. Needing to spend more and more time playing to feel good, that's not a good sign. And not being able to quit or even play less, not wanting to do other things that you used to like, having problems at work, school, or home because of the gaming, and then playing despite these problems, lying to people, and using game to ease the bad moods or the bad feelings. So for parents and teachers, this is very important. And of course, the fourth part of our worry or the dangers is the online theft of the predators. So what has been happening? Well, we are dealing with a crisis right now, the COVID-19 crisis pandemic. We are also dealing with a digital pandemic. So in cybersecurity industry, we call this a digital pandemic. A digital pandemic that is causing a lot of trouble, a lot of chaos right now in the internet. So the World Health Organization is alarmed by this incident. They reported five-fold increase in cyber attacks globally, and the Department of Homeland Security of the U.S. So they were able to detect the COVID-19 exploited by malicious cyber actors. And then the California University paid $1.14 million after they were attacked, and with the ransomware. Garmin, the latest, no? Garmin is the fitness company. It was in the news that they paid $10 million just to get back their information or their data. And CNBC very recently, phishing scams, spam spike as hackers use coronavirus to prey on remote workers. So we have detected our own cybersecurity operations center have detected that since COVID-19 started in January, cyber attacks that is related to COVID-19 also rose to the highest level, and the cyber criminals were exploiting the issues. No? So first in January, when information on coronavirus was being spread all over the world, the cyber criminals also took advantage of this event. They also sent out their own information on coronavirus, but that the emails and the websites are embedded with malicious softwares. So because everyone wanted to know a lot about coronavirus, so almost everyone was downloading and opening emails coming from cyber criminals. And then in February, when the information is already focused on prevention of coronavirus, the cyber criminals also had their own campaign. They also released their own campaign on prevention, but then again, that information is embedded with a malicious software. Even when when the global community started to ask for donations, so the cyber criminals also launched their own donation campaign, but they are a non-valid organization. So they ask for donations, and they keep it to themselves. And they compromise the global community is using attack vectors. So the first that they did is they cloned websites. No? So they cloned World Health Organization websites. But the moment you click on this cloned website of the World Health Organization, you will be asked to input your credentials. And the moment you input your credentials, that's already stolen. That's how they steal. Next, they sent out phishing emails with links to bogus uh, coronavirus related websites. Some are embedded, attached with a malicious software that will compromise your computer if you are going to open or click on the computer. And the next day, created COVID-19 related domains. So these are domains that they entice and trick everyone to access. They created mobile applications that are malicious. So with the same intent to steal your credentials and control your device. There were also virus links and attachments. And they were doing this, they were sending the attack vectors in all methods. In all methods like your email, through SMS, Facebook, websites, Instagram, all social media platforms. They were able to send their attack vectors. So what happened? What happened during the start of the pandemic until April? So we were able to plot cyber criminal campaigns since January. In this case, in January 29, so there was a campaign in US, Italy, Japan, and China about credential harvesting Trojan. So this Trojan was sent through emails impersonating an official email from World Health Organization. And in February, in South Korea, there was another remote access Trojan that was broadcasted using email also with the subject of nCoV or coronavirus outbreak. And in March, there were multiple incidents in multiple countries. In the United States, there were malware, different types of malware. There was a ransomware, and there was a hospital that was compromised. No, the Midville Medical Center in Pennsylvania. They crashed several systems in the hospital, including medical records and email. This prevented the medical center to provide medical services. In April, in Malaysia, the banks, Malaysia National Bank customers were victimized. In Europe, in April 13, the Energias de Portugal was also compromised by a ransomware, and they were asked to pay 10 million euros. And in Azerbaijan, there was an attack on the industrial control systems. And again, in April 18, in United States. So if you notice, since January, there has been an escalation of attacks against not only companies, but end users. So those who are working from home, the cyber criminals realize that these people are connected to the very vulnerable network, or the most vulnerable network of all, that's called home network. No? Suddenly, you're no longer covered by your organization's sophisticated security. So there has been a rise, and locally, our Cybersecurity Operations Center was able to prevent in January 76 million access to malicious sites coming from our subscribers. In February, there was 150 million access to malicious sites that were prevented. In March, 276 million. But in April, it ballooned to 9.8 billion, meaning more and more end users or subscribers of PLDT and Smart tried to access websites that are malicious, and we were able to prevent. And we noticed that 80,000 of those websites that the people are trying to connect are COVID-19 related bogus websites. So that was in April. In May, we detected another 100,000 of COVID-19 related bogus websites. No? So if we were not able to prevent this, we could have lost our personal information, our credentials, even our important data that is inside our computer. So this was what's happening during January and up to April. And most of these attacks were carried out using social engineering. Social engineering attack through phishing. Now, it's very important for us, so that we will not be victimized by phishing attacks. We need to understand how to spot and detect phishing attacks. No? So, for example, a phishing email will have 5 components or 5 criteria that you can find out. Every time you receive an email, most phishing emails, they will have file attachments. So what you need to do is do not open or do not execute right away the attachment. You need to verify from the sender if the sender actually sent you an email with an attachment. You need to ask him if or her if he was the one who sent it. Number 2, in spotting possible phishing emails, it's attention grabbing. You know, these phishing emails will catch your attention or will grab your attention with freebies. For example, freebies, 50% discount, 75% discount. These are phishing emails. So you need to verify the authenticity of too good to be true offers. Do not immediately click on the link. Next, there's always a link that they provide. you will be provided with a link. A link that when you see looks legit. So you need to be able to identify by hovering your mouse pointer. You hover it on top of the link that was provided, and it will reveal the real link that you are trying to click. Now, so it's best to visit the actual website instead of clicking on the link. So, for example, you were given a 50% discount by Louis Vuitton. No, there's a link there that says Louis Vuitton. Instead of clicking on that link, just go directly to your browser and type the Louis Vuitton link so that you'd be able to verify. Now, most of the time, senders are unknown. No? But there are also times that they try to spoof senders that you know. So senders that came from your mother or your mother-in-law or your father, but going back to the first approach, you need to verify. Okay, you need to verify. And then the last element of a phishing email is the element of time. They're going to rush you. You know, they will ask you to click now. You know, cyber criminals ask you to decide fast and avail of limited offers. So there, if it's a freebie, they're going to tell you you need to click now and visit now so that you can still avail of the freebies. So remember the false acronym. There's a file attachment, attention grabbing. There's always a link. Sender is unknown, and the element of time. So false. This is an example of an actual phishing email because we detect millions of phishing emails in our organization. So if you can see the red flags, upgrade your MS Teams now. You can see that now. So that's the element of time, right? And then the sender is unknown. Microsoft Team support.com.ph. That's unknown. No? And then check also for grammatical or spelling lapses. That's one indicator, another indicator of a phishing email. And there's always a link. Click here to update. There's always a link. And some phishing emails also include wrong logos or pixelated logos. No? And then a warning in the email message should alert recipients that email is not coming from a legitimate source. So there are red flags that you will be able to detect every time you receive a phishing email, and they're common. They're very common. No? Although the grammatical or spelling lapses, the hackers have already improved their way of creating or crafting emails. But the element of time, the unknown sender, there's always a link, and there's an attachment, attention grabber. No, that's something that you can that can prevent you from becoming a victim. And the reason also why I am focusing on phishing in our with this very limited time is because this is the most successful way to compromise the user. And when you are able to compromise the user, you can compromise the whole organization. You can compromise the whole organization, and you can compromise the data of the organization. So this is why starting March, when we did our launch our work from home program, we also changed the mindset. No, we need to focus on securing our employees' laptops. Number one, it's gonna compromise our operation. Number two, if the laptops of our employees are compromised, it's okay if there's just one, but if there's hundreds of them, thousands of them, and they won't be able to do their jobs. Imagine 1,000 people not being able to do their work. And we cannot go to each and every houses of these employees to reinstall because of the restrictions in the mobility. And not everyone in the organization can reinstall their operating systems, reconfigure and everything. So we need to have that strict implementation. And as an example of to make sure that our employees are always aware and informed, uh, almost every day we send out an advisory on what's going on in the real world of cybersecurity. Awareness is very important. Awareness is very awareness will save the organization from becoming victim to hacking. Apart from that, to end my slides, what makes an organization successful in fighting cybersecurity on a day-to-day basis is, number one, cybersecurity program must have the full support from the CEO and the board. Okay, the cybersecurity initiative is not a CIO issue, is not a CTO issue, it's not an IT issue. This is a business issue, and therefore the responsibility and accountability of the CEO with the full support of the board. No, when you have that kind of CEO, then there must be a chief information security officer, like what we have in our organization. I was asked to join in 2018, no? with the covenant that I will be reporting directly to the CEO, and the CEO will be in full support, because cybersecurity is not just about technology. Cybersecurity is the end-to-end perspective of an organization. Next, you must create a cybersecurity culture. Everyone must be able to talk about cybersecurity on their level. And this will never happen if the top guy is not talking about cybersecurity. In our group, the chairman and CEO is talking about cybersecurity. In fact, we just signed a partnership with the Philippine Air Force. The Philippine Air Force cyber warriors are going to train under us in the next few months, and the CEO talked about cybersecurity there and the importance of having a sound cybersecurity culture. If not, if only the IT guys are talking about cybersecurity, then the organization might be subjected to a massive cyber attack in the near future. There has to be a clearly documented and implemented policies and procedures. This cannot be done on a verbal manner. It cannot be done on an ad hoc manner. It has to be organized. It has to be systematic with the support of the top guy. And lastly, there has to be an incident response plan. We are now operating anticipating that we will be attacked today, if not today, tomorrow, if not tomorrow, next week, if not next week. So the cybersecurity operations group of the PLDT group is living in paranoia on a daily basis. We are always paranoid. We don't sleep well. No, we are always on the lookout, because we are anticipating of a cyber attack. And every day is we consider every day a victory. No, today we did not succumb to a cyber attack, so we celebrate today. But tomorrow it's the same mindset again, and it never ends. It's a never-ending task for us. So that's why we are always on the lookout, and we need to be always ready to respond to any incident. Thank you very much.